this segment, we're going to be having a look at the headlights, marker lights, tail lights, signal lights in the Chevy Impala. Let's get started. For this application, we're going to need fiber stick, a sharp V trim panel removing tool, a pick, and a pair of pliers. Okay, we'll first start here with looking at our headlights, but we have to remove this upper cover here. So there's 3 push clips we have to remove, and that's where our sharp V comes in. So we'll first start by prying them out. And then just lifting out our cover. You can see here how this cover, it's got a groove here, like that. And that slips into the grill and goes down, and then it's clipped. Let's set that off to the side. Okay, now that we got our cover out, we want to remove our headlight capsule. That'll give us access to our bulbs. And the first thing we got to do is right here, and right over here, there's 2 white tabs that hold your headlight into your header panel and your fender. Those there have to be lifted up. Then they just slide off. And this one too. Set that off the side so we don't lose them. And then that releases our headlamp. And then it just slides right out of there like that. And here's our connector here, our pigtail. And what we want to do here is just lift up here on this tab here, very gently because they're fragile, and just wiggle that connection off. Let's take this over to the bench and have a look at it. Okay, let's have a look at our light here on the inside. Right here we have a dust cover. That just comes right off like that. And over here is our marker signal light. You can see in here it has a little lever that it's a catch, and that hooks, and that has to be pushed down and then it turned out counterclockwise. You can just reach in there, push down on it, and just turn that out counterclockwise. And there it is there. This here is a 3457 amber double filament bulb, and that just pushes in like so. Just wiggle it out, and there you have it. That's how it's held in there. It's just a nice fit like that. And always remember, when you touch your bulb, always clean them up, because the oils from your fingers will shorten the life of that bulb. Now let's get that back in because it's still good. And then it only fits one way and one way only, and then it just turns in clockwise. And you can hear it clip in, it's secured. And we'll put our shield back on. Now let's go on over here, and we'll take this one off. And this here's our low beam bulb, and that's the same thing. It turns out counterclockwise, and it just lifts out of there. This bulb here is a 9006 HB4, and the same thing. Don't touch it with your fingers. I've not touched it, so we're going to just slide that back in. It only goes in one way only, and then it just turns in clockwise. Just make sure our wires are tucked in out of the way, and get our shield back on it. That keeps the water out and the dust and stuff like that. Now let's have a look here at our high beam. I'm just going to show you how these 2 lights work and how they disconnect. Right here is a little tab. You can see how it hooks onto the light itself, and that gets lifted and it just unplugs. Now you can see how that lifts up and it releases, but you have to be very gentle with these because it's only plastic, and if you pry on them too hard they'll break, and then it won't stay onto your light. It'll wiggle its way out. So always be gentle and careful with stuff like that. Same with this. This just turns out counterclockwise and just comes right out just like that. And this is a 9005, an HB3 bulb for your high beam. Let's put that back in. Only goes in one way, as you can see. You can see how it fits in. And then just push it in a little bit and turn it clockwise. And then our pigtail only fits one way also. We can just push that back on. It's nice and secure. Get your wires back in there. Make sure nothing's pinched. And put the dust shield back on. Let's reinstall this light. Alright, before we install our light back into the car, you can see here our little tabs that come off of our light. And those fit into here, here, and over here on the fender also. And you line it up, you get it in there, and then we have our retainers. And you can see how that slides down like so, and then it locks down into position like this. So then you can understand how that works. So let's put this light back in. Okay, first we'll take our electrical pigtail, and this only goes on one way only. And just push that into place. You'll hear it click, it means it's secure. And then we want to rock our headlight back in there. We want to get these two tabs over here first and line those up just ever so gently, and just rock your back in. And there's your light in. Let's get our two tabs up top to lock that light into place. Okay, first of all we'll take our retainer, and we could just take that over top, and it has to go over top. The top one has to slide through the top one here first. So we take that and line it up. Just take your time and just push it into place. That secures it. Let's do the other side now. Same thing. Top one in the top, slide it down. And there you have it, that light secured back in. Very easy system. Let's get our upper grille shroud back on. Okay, let's get our shroud back in. You'll be able to see here the tabs that are on the leading edge of the shroud. And that just fits over top your back edge of your grille. So that, just line that up, just take your time. And just slide those right into place. Like so. And then just tuck your wire back over top. Just lining things back up. Okay, you can see here our push retainer clips are two different sizes. We have some thicker ones and a narrower one. The narrower one goes to the center of your shroud. So just line that up and put it in and just lock it into position. And that's the same with the outside ones. Just make sure you get things lined up, push them in, lock it into position, and over here also the third one, and lock it into position. Let's get around to the back and look at the taillight. Okay, let's have a look at this taillight assembly. We'll get the camera onto the inside there, and I'll show you what you have to do to remove that lens. Let's get started. Okay, we first have to start here by removing, we've got three clips here. And then there's two of them that are holding the light here. And we want to flip the carpet back, then there's two more that hold it. And just take into account which ones go where. You know, it's easy to do because you're going to do one side at a time. You can always look back at the other side to see where they go. So let's get started. And this is where a pair of pliers comes in handy, because you might have to get the pliers on there and just give it a little bit of a turn. Let's back those out. Now we take our carpet and just pull it back, nice and easy. And you can see the other two that are holding the capsule in. So just take your pliers and just crack them loose a little bit, and then they just spin out. Set it off to the side. Okay, now we can pull that light out. Just hang on to both sides and just work it out nice and easy. And there you have it. Now we want to take this capsule over to our working bench and have a look at the lights. So you can see our electrical pigtail hooked onto our connector here. And that's the same thing. That's just got a nice little tab on it. Just lift that up and just pull that out ever so gentle. You can see how that lifts and hooks in there. And always be careful so you don't break that. Let's go over and put that on the tray and look at the bulbs. Okay, always remember to set your lights on a piece of paper or a cloth so we don't scratch the lenses. It is soft plastic and we don't need to destroy our own light. So let's have a look now at our park light here, and that just turns out counterclockwise and just lifts straight out of there like that, and that just pushes in. It's the same as the front. This here is a 3057 clear bulb, double filament, and you can see how that just pushes back in there like that, just clips into place. This bulb's still good, so we're going to put that back in. This here, looking at this, if you ever have a broken light or something, this here will all give you access so you can change your own bulb. Let's have a look at our marker light. This here also turns out counterclockwise and just lifts right out of there like that. And it's just a push-in bulb. This is a 194 push-in bulb. And it just pushes in, clips into place like that. And it just locks back in that easy. Let's take our housing here and let's put it back in the car. Okay, we'll start here by connecting our pigtail back into our wiring harness. And that only goes on one way. Just put it in nice and easy and you'll hear it click into place. It means it's secure. Just try it, make sure it's connected good. Then you can see our bolts here. And you can see where they line up through our quarter panel, our rear pan here. Just take your time and just line things up nice and easy and push it into place. Now let's get all of our retainer nuts back on. Okay, we'll start here by putting on our two retainers that are on the inside of the carpet. One here and one up here, so they're diagonal from each other. And just remembering the ones that you took off, and if you have to, just glance at the other side and you'll be able to see what's going on if you forget. This one up here. And don't over tighten them. You don't have to, just nice and secure. And then we'll take our carpet and push it all back up into place, bringing our bolts back through our carpet. And then you can see the differences in these. There's actually 3 different ones, and you can see the one with the narrow end on it, that one goes to the bottom. That's your cargo net, attaches onto that. And then next we want to put our other cargo net on. Put that back here. And then finally, our last one, place here. And then just take your time and tuck your carpet back underneath your weather strip. And there you have it. We'll look at the backup lights now. Okay, there's a little bit more involved for our backup lights here. We have to remove this whole rear panel, and for that we're going to need a 10mm socket, extension, and a ratchet, and we have to undo the bolts from the inside. So let's go underneath there and have a look at the bolts, and I'll show you where they're at, and then we'll take this off and have a look at our backup lights. Okay, I'm going to show you where these 9 bolts are. We have one here, here, and here, 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 and there, and then 3 more here. These have to be removed to have a look at that light. We'll start. Okay, I'll work at this and get all 9 of these out, and then we'll lift that off. Okay, now that I have all 9 of the nuts off the back of this, I'm just having somebody help me. They're holding the trunk for me, and that makes it easier. If you can have somebody help you hold the trunk also, and then you could just pull out your whole back light assembly like that, and just hold it out nice and easy like that, and that gives us access here to our backup lights. These turn out the same way, counterclockwise. It just turns out and just pulls right out of there like this. This bulb here, this backup bulb, is a 921 clear single filament bulb, and it's the same thing. It just pushes in, just clicks into place like that. This bulb's still good, so we're going to leave it in there. And it only goes in the one way, and then it turns in clockwise and locks into position. And then just take your time after your light's changed and just line up all your bolts and just slide that back into your deck lid like that, and then we'll lift it up and we'll get the nuts all back on the back. Let's get that done. Okay, taking a ratchet and an extension and then just lining things up and just gently putting things back together, turning them in clockwise, and just snugging them in secure. Don't over tighten them. Don't want to break your back light. Okay, I'll carry on and get them all in. And there we have it. Today we had a look at the headlights, marker lights, taillights, and backup lights for this Chev Impala. We looked at the tools that are needed for this application, and just remember, with a little bit of time and effort, you could do the job just like the experts. From Auto Body Tips, thanks.